want to show you some techniques now for capturing mountains in the distance. So we need to paint first of all a little bit of blue. I'm just using a bit of cobalt blue because these are well in the distance. Just putting a very simple wash over there. Very light tone. Detail goes in later. As we come forward, I've added a bit of our mix on there. A bit of that purple in. Just follow the structure of the mountains. Notice all my brush strokes are coming downwards at about 45 degrees. And there's one behind there. Now we need to put some detail in, not a lot. These are just a backdrop to the painting. But as we come forward to the mountains, we need just a little bit of texture and shaping. So just using a bit of purple again, made up from a bit of cobalt blue, a bit of alizarin crimson. I'm just doing a dot dash just to get a bit of a shape there. I don't want a lot. These want to look like ghostly mountains in the distance. If I do them too dark, it'll detract from the main features in the painting. A bit more blue, I think, a bit of cobalt blue. Just to give it a bit more tone, but not a lot. And then we just give a little hint there. I want to get light as I go into the distance. This is how we achieve recession, capture that distance to lead the eye through the painting into the distance. I just want a bit more shape in the mountain, I'm mixing a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of cobalt blue, touch of red. Now I just want something in there like that. And then we'll just add a bit of darker in here. Just use the side of the brush and twitch bits up here and there. If you overdo it as I've done, you always have tissue in your hand. Take it out. A little bit more blue now. More water. A bit more purple. I think that will suffice. What we can do is using a bit of tissue, just wipe the brush marks away like that. Don't like to see brush marks in a painting. And there's our effect of distant mountains. Quite simple. You can do it. Practice makes perfect. I'm starting by applying masking fluid to the foreground mountain. I've dipped the brush in water into the masking fluid. This is a blue masking fluid, so you can see where you're depositing the masking. Masking fluid is just a gum arabic that you apply, and when it's dry, you can overpaint, and it preserves the whiteness of the paper. You'll see what happens in a moment. We're going to work on these distant mountains now. I'm using my large rigger brush, size 6. I want a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of blue. And I'm just going to do a dot dash. Somebody will get the message. And I've taken the surface paint off, and I'm just twitching that down to get a broken effect look like that. A bit more, just dabba-dabba-do, a dot dash. Just spread that paint round. A bit more Payne's grey to the blue. Now this is the main ridge which I'm going to work on. This is a definite ridge here, so I'm just doing a dot dash. I'm going to twitch that down that side of the ridge. while the paint's still wet. I'm just twitching down there to get a broken effect in the snow. Colour down a little bit like that. A lot of snow on this distant ridge. A bit more red in the blue, I think. Rinse the brush again. Twitch it down like that. Right, now at the bottom I'm going to mix a bit of purple, some cobalt blue and some red. In fact, I'll switch to the round brush, a bit larger for speed. And starting at the bottom here, I'm just using the side of the brush. I'm just going to twitch some up like that, look. A bit more water, lighten the colour. Now I'm going to go to a very small rigger, size 3, and just make that ridge more detailed by applying a bit of darker colour, just to make the ridge a bit more distinctive. Doing this very quickly. In a proper painting it would take me a bit of time because I like it to be right. What I'm doing in this DVD is showing you the techniques. You can take as long as you like when you're sitting in your own house or out in the countryside. And now we need to come to this foreground ridge, and we're going to work over the masking fluid, which is dried now. I'm starting with a bit of raw sienna, and I'm just going to paint over the masking, look. The masking repels the paint. Bit of burnt sienna mixed with the blue I've got. I want some darker colour, that's what I want. Make these foreground ridges a bit more distinctive. I'm just using the side of the brush, look. I'm just going between burnt sienna, a bit of the blue and purple I've already got there on the palette. I want this to give a contrast to the distant peaks. Now we need to get that perfectly dry now before we remove the masking. This is the exciting bit. We're going to take off the masking now. I'm going to use my finger. Just rub it off like that, and there's our snow look on top of this ridge. Make sure all the masking's off. You can soon tell, you can feel it. I'm going to use a little rigger brush now and a bit of purple, a bit of Payne's Grey, a bit of red. And I'm just going to go around and put a little bit of shadow under these snow banks here. I'm just very quickly putting a bit of shadow around the snow. It's little details like this that make all the difference. Just doing a little dot dash over the snow there. It won't be completely white all over. Just doing a few little dots on there like that. Get a bit more realism. Now all we need to do now, we need 3 figures walking up the edge. So I'm using a bit of red, and we'll just put on here. Now they'll be leaning forward, the figures. One there, and one there. The legs will be bent. Little heads on. They'll be roped together probably. They'll have a backpack on. Bit of shadow underneath them. Just pick the top of this ridge out a bit. There's our finished sketch. I want to introduce you now to the concept of glazing. Now glazing is a wonderful technique, but I've mixed 2 glazes here. One's a raw sienna glaze and one's a cadmium red. Now it's a good idea to test your colours, which I've done, on a bit of similar paper first of all. So the first thing I'm going to do, look, is I'm going to apply a raw sienna glaze over the painting, and I'll need to dry it quick before it soaks into the underpainting. The underpainting is very, very dry. I've left it overnight to dry, and you've got to have a light touch with a soft brush. So here we go, look. Wonderful for snow scenes. You can do a snow scene and you can glaze it with a raw sienna and add life to the painting. So there's a raw sienna glaze I put over that. We'll have a little bit over here, a little bit over there like that. Oh, go on, I'll put a bit over the water as well. Let's go straight into the red one, let's be brave. It's lovely for warming up your painting. Now let's come to my round brush and just push that paint around. Just put a little bit of red down here. I don't want to obliterate my boat. Right, now let's dry that. I'm just going to put a little bit of light back into those clouds I had there using a tissue, just to brighten it up a bit. Take off that surplus there. Just want a little bit of light cloud in there. So what I've done, I've warmed this sky up completely. I've a little bit of colour in the foreground and it's transformed the painting. Well, that brings us to the end of the programme. Join me next time when I show you many more of my top tips.
Now available to buy. Try these techniques at home whenever you wish. The extended DVD of today's workshop and the book that accompanies this series are now available from the Painting and Drawing channel. For further information and to order your copy, go to www.paintingdrawingchannel.com.